Today we're going to talk about how we as smallholders hold the secret to sustainability. We work with the planet and the planet works with us. We feed the soil because the soil is our most important asset and it feeds us, but we do it all in a natural cycle.
Hello, welcome to English Country Life. Welcome to the vegetable area. My name's Hugh and together with my gorgeous dungaree wearing wife Fiona, we live and work on this, a rural smallholding here in Lincolnshire. Now today we want to try and answer some of the questions we've been asked, and they've been asked in lots of ways about, please talk about composting, please talk about soil nutrition, how do you keep your beds healthy and being productive? We want to try and tackle that in the round today. We're happy to go into individual areas in more detail if people want us to, and if they do, just leave us a comment down below. Here's a case study. Let's take a look at this bed. This bed was full of weeds, but look at it closely. Let's examine those weeds. They're actually, in the main, tall, deep-rooted weeds. They aren't a sort of carpet of green of small annual weeds. And why is that? Well, that's because the soil in this bed was dry and lacking in nutrition. So those deep-rooted weeds are reaching down, trying to find moisture, trying to find food further down in the soil that's not accessible to the quick-growing annual weeds. That tells me that I've got a problem with this bed if I want to grow vegetables productively in it. And what I need to do is to incorporate a lot more organic matter. And incorporating organic matter does four things for this bed. Firstly, yes, it definitely gives additional nutrition. It feeds those plants, it puts nutrients into the soil that they desperately want. But secondly, and this is vital in the way that we're seeing the climate at the moment, is it traps and holds moisture. And we're going to illustrate that in great detail, but organic matter will hold the sporadic rain that falls on this bed and keep it there for when the plants need it. Third point is it improves the soil structure. It creates this light but bound soil that doesn't blow away in the wind, but that the roots can penetrate easily. And fourth, it provides a wonderful home for invertebrates, and those invertebrates, things like worms and beetles, etc., form the basis of the ecosystem that allows wildlife to flourish on our small holding.
In contrast, let's have a look at a commercially farmed field. This field has been sprayed off using a chemical weed killer. So there are no weeds in here, but there are also no other plants whatsoever. The soil structure is really poor too. There's no organic material in it, so it's not holding moisture, and that means no invertebrates, no small mammals, no birds. So there's not just no plants, there's also no animals, whether they're vertebrates or invertebrates, in the soil whatsoever. It can't hold moisture, so how do the farmers get to grow plants in it? Well, the first thing is they need to bring in lots and lots of water from reservoirs. So as soon as it stops raining, they have to pipe it in. What it also then needs to do is they need to add lots of chemical fertilizer, which is petrochemical based, and none of that is good. And because that soil structure is so poor, there is massive amounts of soil erosion. So if you see any of the tractors going up and down harrowing or actually ploughing the field, there is plumes and plumes of dust flying behind them, and actually it makes our cars have a film of dirt on them all the time because the tractors throw up so much fine dust into the air. In contrast, we're trying to add organic material to our vegetable plot and work in unison with the planet, so we're not using petrochemical fertilizers, we're not pumping in water, and the other thing is we're not using those chemical weed killers either, so our food is clean.
So Fiona was just talking about organic matter, and I wanted to bring you to my glamorous set to talk about organic matter. All right, this is our compost area. We've got about 15 of these big Daleks and other things that we create organic matter for the garden in. And let me explain how things used to be different. Years ago, small farms did a bit of everything. So they raised some animals, they grew some cereal crops, they had an orchard, they would grow their own vegetables. It was a complete enterprise, and all those things interacted with each other to create a natural ecosystem. And we're trying to reproduce that on our small holding. And I want to give you one example of that. Over behind you and to your left is our orchard. Now we can't dig that ground for vegetables because that's where all the tree roots are. But what we can do is raise chickens under the trees. It creates natural shade, a lovely environment for the chickens. The chickens produce manure. Fiona gathers all that manure, she brings it up here, we put it into separate containers, including an old water butt, because you waste nothing, and we rot it down for 2 years. And as horrible as it sounds, I want to show you our manure, because I'm proud of it. Now let's take a look. Bear in mind, this is filmed on one of the hottest days of the year in the middle of a drought. Look at that manure. It is wet. And it is dark and it is full of moisture. That's not rainwater, it hasn't rained for weeks. That is the moisture retaining ability of manure, as well as holding all those wonderful nutrients. So when we incorporate that into the soil, it binds the soil together and it allows it to hold moisture, as well as introducing nutrients that the plants need. Now the one problem with manure is that it can create something that we call cob. In this country, we used to build cottages out of cob. Other countries call it sort of adobe, or we used to have wattle and daub walls, and the daub again incorporates an amount of manure. And when it dries out, it can go rock hard. So we need to incorporate some other material to make the soil lighter and freer and more granular. And we use garden compost for that. Now, the garden compost that we produce, let me show it to you, because I'm really proud of our garden compost. It's really light and it has a beautiful fine structure, and that structure opens up the soil and it allows the roots to penetrate, as well as providing more nutrition to the soil. How do we achieve that? Well, let me firstly compare it to some commercial compost. Have a look at this. Can you see all that twiggy material in the commercial compost, right? That woody stuff, as it rots down in the soil, locks up nitrogen, and plants depend on nitrogen. So having lots of twigs in your compost, not a good thing from a soil nutrition point of view. Let me show you one of our approaches. When I cut the hedges, all the hedge clippings fall to the base, and then I run the mower over them and gather all those clippings finely shredded in the grass box. We add that to the composters and we mix in lots of green leafy material, and that will rot down far more quickly than large pieces, and we leave it in there till it's fully rotted. And when it's fully rotted, not only does it not lock up nitrogen, it releases nitrogen back into the soil. So our approach, being a small holding, means that we look at things that are a problem for other people, like hedge clippings, as a massive opportunity to improve our soil health.
I've moved up to the chicken area, and you might hear Uno, or might even see some of the chicks in this film as we go along. And it seemed like a good idea to come here to actually demonstrate the effects of all of this closed loop ecosystem we are trying to work with here to get this sustainable ecosystem. Sorry, I'm totally distracted by chicks running around in front of me. Now, I'm kind of changing my mind about where I'm sitting, because it's actually really uncomfortable. And why is that uncomfortable? Well, all of this wonderful chicken manure that Uno and her chicks are introducing to the soil has encouraged lots of earthworms, and earthworms have brought moles along. And there were mole hills here, but actually Uno has then dug down into those and she's used them for dust bathing, and she's exposed some of the mole runs too. So it is actually quite uncomfortable to sit here, it has to be said. But it all works really well, because there is more that comes into this area. This area being grassed, it has some grass seed heads that encourages voles in, and we've got beetles coming in too. And the beetles, they feed little owls that we've got in the area, and we've got lots of breeding pairs around here. And the voles, they feed barn owls, and we've got lots of those hunting in the area too. And we are so happy with everything we're bringing into our little small holding. It's just so encouraging, and we're trying to work so closely with the environment around us, so it helps us and we help it.
I hope that's given some sort of insight into how we feel about these things. And I want to make it clear, we're not blaming farmers for farming the way they do. Society's got this quest for endless growth, for commercialisation, mechanisation, more and more all the time. And the only way that farmers can produce vast amounts of cheap food is with a huge mechanised industrial process. But I'm not sure that that is good for the planet long term, and I'm very sure it's not good for us. All the stats show that people in rural areas live long, have better mental health, are generally less likely to be a victim of crime, and have happier, more fulfilling lives. And maybe we need to start thinking about how we all live in a different way. Rather than economic growth, maybe we just want growth in happiness, and that is what this gives us, and that's what we want to share with you. If you've enjoyed today's video, can you spare us 5 seconds and give us a thumbs up down below? Let us know in the comments if you want to see more like this. Do you want to know more about composting? Do you want to know more about the crops we grow or the animals we raise? If you do, let us know and we'll try and make those kind of videos for you. If you want to see those videos and everything else we do in our self-sufficient life, just tap on subscribe down there, hit the bell next to it. It's a totally free service, but you'll hear every time we upload a new video. For today, thanks for joining us. Come back and see us soon. Take care.